we're heading to the Caribbean to unravel the story of an island that is as captivating as it is complex. Cuba. I mean, you've seen the pictures, right? Those classic American cars rolling down the streets, the incredible architecture. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it also kind of feels, well, frozen in time. Why is that? What's the real story there? That's the big question we're going to tackle today.
All right, let's dive in. To really get a handle on the Cuba of today with all its revolutionary history, we've got to hit the rewind button and go way, way back to the very beginning. So check this out. For almost 400 years, Cuba was a Spanish colony. Its entire economy was built on things like sugar and coffee, and it was all powered by the forced labor of hundreds of thousands of slaves. So you can imagine that by 1868, that desire for freedom was just boiling over, and it sparked the first of several really brutal wars for independence. But here's the thing, Cuba's fight for freedom didn't just stop with Spain. This is where the story gets super complicated, because a new, very powerful neighbor is about to step onto the scene. So there's this final, desperate push for independence, and it's led by this incredible poet and revolutionary hero, José Martí. I mean, this guy was the heart and soul of the movement for Cuban liberty. But, tragically, he wouldn't actually live to see it happen. And then this happens. A massive, totally mysterious explosion just rips through a US warship sitting right in Havana Harbor. To this day, people still debate what happened. Was it an accident, a Spanish mine, something else entirely? Seriously, what do you think really went down? Well, the official US investigation at the time didn't mess around. They were clear. It was a mine. And of course, fueled by some pretty sensational headlines, the American public was furious and wanted to go after Spain. And that right there, that was the trigger. The US declared war, and in just a few months, it was over. Spanish rule was finished. Cuba was finally on the verge of real independence. Or was it?
Okay, get this. This is the new reality. Officially, Cuba was its own country. But this one little clause, the Platt Amendment, gave the US an incredible amount of power. It was basically a leash. It gave America the right to jump into Cuban finances, foreign policy, you name it. In a very real way, Cuba had just traded one master for another.
So you've got this really complicated relationship with the US, plus all these deep problems at home, and together, it's all setting the stage for one of the most famous revolutions of the entire 20th century. You know, looking at Cuba in the 1950s is like looking at two completely different countries at the same time. On the one hand, you had glamorous Havana, this incredible playground for wealthy Americans, a booming economy, a big middle class. But right underneath all that glitz, there was staggering inequality, a ton of frustration, and just deep, deep anger at a corrupt political system. And any little bit of hope for a democratic change just got shattered. The former leader, Fulgencio Batista, knew he was going to lose the next election, so he just took power in a military coup. For so many Cubans, that was it. That was the final straw. And this is where a new figure enters our story. A fiery young lawyer named Fidel Castro. He believed the only way to fix Cuba was through armed revolution. His first try failed, pretty spectacularly actually, but his fight? Oh, it was just getting started. And now, right now, we get to the heart of it all. Back to our big question. How did this revolution, born from a century of struggle, turn Cuba into the time capsule we see today? It all happens in this four-step chain reaction. First, Castro wins. Second, his government starts taking over private land and businesses, a lot of them owned by Americans. Third, he makes a powerful new friend, America's biggest Cold War enemy, the Soviet Union. And finally, the US responds by cutting off almost all trade. And just like that, bam, the flow of new American cars, goods, and parts, it just stops. The time capsule is sealed. And let's be clear, this wasn't just some small regional dispute. For 13 absolutely terrifying days in October 1962, this little island was the dead center of a global showdown that came this close to ending the world. Can you even imagine living with that kind of tension? Eventually, the Soviet Union collapsed, but that embargo, it stuck around, and Cuba's unique story kept going. So what's life been like on the island since then? And where is it all headed? Well, when the Soviet Union just disappeared, Cuba's economy completely fell off a cliff. This era, which they called the Special Period, was this brutal time of extreme shortages. Food, fuel, pretty much everything. It tested the resilience of the Cuban people to the absolute limit. And this number tells another huge part of the story. That's how many people of Cuban origin are now living just in the United States. Decades of hardship have led to wave after wave of people leaving the island, connecting the fates of these two nations forever. It's a really powerful question to think about. What would make you leave everything you've ever known? This isn't just about politics anymore. It's the deeply human story of families split apart and new lives being built from scratch, all because of the history we've just talked about. And that brings us to today. You have this island nation at a crossroads, wrestling with its past, trying to find its place in a world that is changing so fast. Its future is totally unwritten, but you can bet it's going to be just as fascinating as its past. If you enjoyed this journey through Cuban history and you want to really understand the stories behind the headlines, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button for Time of Titans. Thanks for watching.